Heather, with what shall I fix it, dear Heather, with what?
With thread, dear Katie, dear Katie, dear Katie, with thread, dear Katie, with thread.
What if the thread be too long, dear Heather, dear Heather? What if the thread be too long, dear Heather, too long?
Then cut it, dear Katie, dear Katie, dear Katie, then cut it, dear Katie, then cut it.
With what shall I cut it, dear Heather, dear Heather? With what shall I cut it, dear Heather? With what?
With scissors, dear Katie, dear Katie, dear Katie, with scissors, dear Katie, with scissors.
What if the scissors be too dull, dear Heather, dear Heather? What if the scissors be too dull, dear Heather, too dull?
Then sharpen them, dear Katie, dear Katie, dear Katie, then sharpen them, dear Katie, dear Katie, then sharpen them.
With what shall I sharpen them, dear Heather, dear Heather? With what shall I sharpen them, dear Heather? Sharpen them.
With a rock, dear Katie, dear Katie, dear Katie, with a rock, dear Katie, with a rock.
This isn't going to work out because this is going the same way as that bucket song. and we're going to end up with, but there's a hole in the bucket.
There's a hole in
but
Kyla's
there's
pants.
not a hole in the bucket, there's a hole in Kyla's pants. So how are we going to get it back to that?
I don't know. Keep trying. Ask me where you're going to find a rock or something.
Where are all the rocks, dear Heather? Dear Heather, dear Heather, where are all the rocks? I'm gonna pee in my pants. All the rocks.
In the driveway, dear Katie, dear Katie, dear Katie, in the driveway, dear Katie, in the driveway.
Where is the driveway? Dear Heather, dear Heather, dear Heather, where is the driveway, dear Heather, dear Heather, driveway?
Out the door, dear Katie, dear Katie, dear Katie, out the door, dear Katie, out the door.
What if the door is not open, dear Heather? What if the door is not open, dear Heather? Open!
Then open the door, dear Katie, dear Katie, dear Katie, then open the door, dear Katie, open the door.
What if my hand is too slippery, too slippery? No, wait. Dear Heather, dear Heather. What if my hand is too slippery, dear Heather? Slippery.
Then wash it, dear Katie, dear Katie, dear Katie, then wash it, dear Katie, then wash it.
With what shall I wash it, dear Heather, dear Heather? With what shall I wash it, dear Heather? Wash it.
With Kyla's soap, dear Katie, dear Katie, dear Katie, with Kyla's soap, dear Katie, with Kyla's soap. Don't ask me where you're going to find soap, because I already told you.
What if Kyla's all out of soap? Dear Heather, dear Heather. Dear Heather, what if Kyla's all out of soap? Dear Heather, dear Heather, out of soap.
But she's not, dear Katie, dear Katie, dear Katie.